everyone, I'm the Peculiar Pisces and welcome to my channel. Today is Wednesday, April 8th, 2026, and this is Flosstube video number 81. I'm back with my weekly update, and this is all of my April projects. Last week when I filmed on April 1st, I hadn't touched any of my April projects, so last week was just like this is where I ended for March. So I will hop right into it. I will start with project number 1, which is my favorite designer project. And this one for the month of April is Teresa Wentzler. Teresa Wentzler is my absolute favorite when it comes to designers. She was the first one that I can actively remember seeing in the store and just falling in love with the patterns. And I've pretty much had an obsession ever since, and I have quite a collection of Teresa Wentzler patterns. A lot of them I go to thrift stores and get them from the thrift store if I can find them, or I purchase them off of like Mercari or eBay, that kind of thing. Now, if you don't know a lot about Teresa Wentzler, she is very famous for using blends in all of her pieces. I don't think that I've ever seen a Teresa Wentzler that didn't have a blend in it. The majority of the threads for this pattern, like it's 2 pages, and most of them are blends, including some of the half cross stitches are also blends. So Teresa Wentzler never found a blend that she didn't like. So anyway, with all the blends, it makes Teresa Wentzler pieces notoriously difficult. Also, if you don't know much about Teresa Wentzler, it is very difficult to find her dragon patterns now. A few years ago, so she has, I think it's patternsonline.com. I think that's what it is. Don't quote me. I would have to double check. I can put the link down in the description for the website, but I believe that it's patternsonline.com. They have the bulk of Teresa Wentzler patterns available that you can purchase. I believe it's a PDF format. However, it does not work with Pattern Keeper. When you purchase off of Patterns Online, you have to purchase whatever their pattern reader is. Well, you don't have to purchase it. You just have to download whatever their pattern reader is, which I have not myself purchased from Patterns Online. I have not had a need to. So anyway, a few years ago, Teresa Wentzler removed a lot of her, not a lot, she removed all of her dragons, and you can't get them online. The only place that you can find any of Teresa Wentzler's dragons are on the secondhand market, either eBay, Mercari, or at thrift stores. So I'm always on the lookout for Teresa Wentzler patterns, but I do have quite a bit of Teresa Wentzler patterns. Anyway, the one that I'm working on for the month of April is the Woodland Faerie. And I am doing this on 28 count even weave from Fabric Flair, and the fabric is called Flower Champagne. So here is my progress. Now, I thought that I was like gonna pick, a color over here and stitch it out, and then pick a color over here and stitch it out. That didn't happen. I ended up filling in this whole section and filling in like this. I have 2 more rows, but this is the top of the pattern. So I've just been working up and over, like this is in part of the border area, but I've been working in through here and through this stuff. Currently I'm starting to fill things in over here. Like there's a whole blank space over here. I'm probably going to fill it in and then, start working back in the wings again. There is, I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but there is a blending filament in this wing, the majority of the stitches. There are a few stitches that didn't call for a blending filament, but I thought it looked funny, so I added a blending with it that sort of matches this darker color down. Like down here has the blending filament. So yeah, so here is my progress. I've both worked on it a lot and also not a lot at the same time. It's hard to say. I've only worked on it a few days this week, but when I did work on it, I got to work on it multiple hours at a time. So let's give you my stats for this one. Okay, so for the week of (3:30) through 4:05. Obviously, I did not work on it on the 30th and the 31st because those were still March days. But I did get to work on it twice that week. Yeah, twice. And so for those 2 days that I did get to work on it, I put in 2 hours, 34 minutes, and 51 seconds. And it's brought my total time for the project to 44 hours, 57 minutes, and 51 seconds. I wish I could give you better stats, but this is a paper copy. And I originally had it scanned and I was using like a PDF reader on my computer. And the more that I marked on, the slower and bogged down it would get because my laptop's not great. It's, just enough for me to do the things that I want to do, but it doesn't have like high processing speeds and it is not a gaming computer. But I ultimately ended up having to make a working copy, and I'm using a highlighter to get through it because the PDFs just bogged down my entire computer. And it did that for all of the ones that I scanned in. So that includes the Mirabilia that I worked on too. I actually had to erase all of the highlights from the PDF thing and just work on it page by page as I'm doing it. Okay. So that was project number 1. Project number 2 is it's either a Blackwork piece or a sampler piece. Last month it was a sampler piece. This month it is back to being a Blackwork piece. So I am working on the Orchid Blackwork pattern from Loose Thread Stitchery. And this is 18 count Aida that I hand dye myself. And I believe that I did a come dye with me video. So there will be a link to that in the description. But here is my progress. So the last time you saw it, I had just done a little bit up on this last page. Well, this past week I finished the page and then am working down. So this one for the week of 3:30 through 4:05, I got to work on this twice. The 2 times that I got to work on it, I put in 2 hours, 53 minutes, and 22 seconds. And it's brought my total time for this project to 27 hours, 14 minutes, and 17 seconds. So I'm pretty excited on this one. I noticed in one of the comments from when I worked on this back in February, this ultimately is something that I want to enter into a fair. I already have the Blackwork piece for this year that I'm going to be entering because it's the one that I finished last year. The fair has like rules that it can't be older than 18 months. And I think that's because they don't want people to bring in a cross stitch that their grandma stitched like 40 years ago and have it, like win all of the prizes. And I get that. I do. I get that. They want to make sure that it's a recent piece, not something that you've been holding on to forever, or they don't want to make sure that, you keep entering the same piece into the fair year after year after year and would be winning from the same piece year after year after year. So I get why they have that rule. So when it comes down to this, I'll have to slow up and maybe not finish this until after the fair has happened this year, which the fairs happen in June and August, or July and August. The one is either in June or July, and that's the county fair. And then the state fair is always the last week of August into the first week of September. So I could probably like hold off on like maybe my last 100 stitches on this to make sure that it's rule compliant. That was what was suggested in the comments for this one, but that is where I am. So did I give my times? I worked on it 2 hours, 53 minutes, and 22 seconds for the week of 3:30 through 4:05, and it's brought my total time to 27 hours, 14 minutes, and 17 seconds. I'm pretty sure I did give that time. Now that I said it out loud a second time, I'm like, wait, I think I did do that. So that is project number 2. And then project 3 is Heaven and Earth Designs. This is called Faerie Risqué, and this is the no background version. And I did a color conversion. I changed it to blue. I'm not much of a red fan, which is why I changed the initial colors. So I changed it to blue. And the conversion's working pretty good. Like, there are some areas that I feel like it could have been a better conversion, but overall, I like where it's going and how it's headed. So this one here is my progress. Now, the last time that you saw this, I was down here and I only had like 300-ish more stitches to complete this row right here. And then I was moving back up here. So I finished out that row. This is the bottom part of her ear and the start of her earrings right here. So this row is finished, and I jump back up here to her hair and have been working over, and I was right. This is the top of this page. So I am almost at a page finish. I'm so excited. I'm almost at a page finish, and then this one up here is the last page for this quarter, and then she will officially be 25% complete. But I'll get to the actual stats here in a minute. But I'm so excited. She's looking gorgeous. Simply gorgeous. I just love the way that she's turning out. Okay, so now for the statistics. Oh, the only thing that I didn't do was add up my stitches, and I can do that just really quickly. Hang on. Just a moment. Okay. Okay, so for the week of 3:30 through 4:05, I got to work on this 2 days. And of those 2 days, I put in 2 hours, 58 minutes, and 16 seconds. And that brought my total project time to 156 hours, 6 minutes, and 54 seconds. I don't think I said just now, but this is my oldest WIP to date. And I started this back in January of 2024. So in 2 years, here's where I am. Okay, so For that week, I put in 301 stitches to work on this. And as of 4/3, the stats on this were I was at 16,580 out of 74,797 stitches, and I was at 22.17%. Now, I have worked on this Monday and Tuesday of this week, so, you know, those stitches from this week are on this too that you're seeing, but that's where I am. I'm so close to being 25%. Like, I'm so close to finishing out this page, which should probably give me, I don't know, 23%. And then this last page is a percent. I don't know. That seems kind of crazy. Well, my stats are a little bit off too because the middle where I started was actually like in this area. So I brought it over to where the page finished. So I added stitches over here, and then I finished the page down to the bottom of the page that page was on. So that's why my numbers are not quite, like, I'm sure that I'm going to get 25% while I'm like probably halfway through this page, this last page. But I can't wait to start on this page because I've got the top hat to do. I'm not really going to get into her face, but getting to the top hat is going to be really, really fun. And I'm looking forward to doing this. I'm looking forward to getting these last stitches in. So I'm really excited. She is coming along. I don't remember if I said, but that is a 22 count Hardinger that I hand dyed myself. There is not a come dye with me video because I wasn't doing that yet. Okay, and then project 4. I'm working on the Dimensions kit. This is called the Dolphins Domain. This is primarily a companion piece. My very, very, very first cross stitch that I ever did was a dolphin family, and it was like 3 dolphins, like swimming around in like coral and the bottom of the ocean bit. And this is a family of 4 dolphins, which I have a family of 4. So I wanted to make this piece to go as a companion piece with that very first one that I completed. Okay, so my progress, hold on, which way is up? Okay, this way is up. Here is my progress on the piece. Sorry, like I've got a hanging thread. Here is my progress. So this being a dimensions kit, all of these like background stitches are half cross stitches, and they are in various thicknesses. One of these has like a thickness of 5 strands. One of these has like a thickness of 3 strands. One of them is just 2 strands. So it's all over the place in this section, but this is the edge of the piece, and so I started in the middle and I worked up and to the edge, and so now I'm just coming up to finish out this section, this quarter. Okay, so this one I don't have fun stats on, but I just have my time. So this one, I got to work on it for the week of 3:30 through 4:05. I got to work on it twice, and I put in 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 27 seconds, and it has brought my total time for this piece to 8 hours, 17 minutes, and 5 seconds. So this is the kit fabric that came with the kit. it is listed as a 14 count blue Aida. I did not dye it in any way, shape, or form, mostly because this piece, while it's not a full coverage piece, it might as well be a full coverage piece because it's like 98% full coverage, and the other 2% are just like a little bit in the bottom where the bottom of the ocean floor is, and a little bit in the top where the waves are. Will you be able to see through to the color? But yeah, so this one I only work on when I have appointments or when I'm waiting for my kids to get out of school. So this one doesn't get as much love, but this is my Stashbuster piece. Oh, and I talked about the first one. I talked about the second one. The third project is a wish list piece, and it's pretty subjective and is anything that I want to do, but I feel like that piece has more or less become like full coverage pieces. Like all of my pieces, almost all of my pieces in the wish list slot are full coverage pieces. The only exception is the chatelaine, because that's not full coverage. So, and then my fourth project, this one, is the Stashbuster piece, and it's kits or patterns that I've had and have been carrying around for years that I just need to work on. And so this is me trying to work through my stuff. All right. So that concludes my 4 main stitching projects. And of course, everything doesn't want to go back in its box. All right. So the next thing that I have been working on is my temperature projects, and I did get to work on several of them. So when I filmed last week on Wednesday, it was 54 degrees Fahrenheit here, and I did not get to work on anything that day except for the Dolphins domain. So then Tuesday on 4/2, it was 66 degrees here. These are Fahrenheit temperatures, and if you don't know what temperature projects are, you pick 10 projects, label them 0 through 9, and when then you check either you check your daily temperature, or you can check it for the week and like go with the projected, and you can either do the high temperature or you can do the low temperature. It doesn't really matter, but the second digit of the temperature is the one that will correspond with a project. And so okay, since it's April, let me pause this really quick and get my other notebook. Okay, since it's April, I will do a refresher on what my temperature projects are. Temperatures ending in a 0 temperature are my Doctor Who diamond painting. Temperatures ending in a 1 temperature are the Pansey blanket crochet project. Temperature projects ending in a 2 is the purple landscape cross stitch. Temperatures ending in a 3 is an Irish crochet project. Temperatures ending in a 4 is French beaded flowers. Temperatures ending in a 5 is monk's cloth, Swedish weaving, or Huck weaving. It's called all 3. Temperatures ending in a 6 is a butterfly cross stitch. That's a pre-printed cross stitch. Temperatures ending in a 7 is a purple baby blanket. Temperatures ending in an 8 is a peacock pre-printed cross stitch, and temperatures ending in a 9 is a granny square crochet blanket. So those are my 10 temperature projects. Hang on, the dog is scratching at the door to come back in. Okay, so like I said, I did not work on temperature projects on April 1st, but on April 2nd, it was 66 degrees Fahrenheit here. And so that was the butterfly cross stitch. And that temperature only came up the one day. And so try to go this way. Yeah. This is what it's going to look like. Lots of black 310 in this background. Lots of it. So here's my progress on it. I basically am picking a strand of the black background and stitching that strand out as far as it'll go. And then I picked a blue color that was the next symbol here, and then stitched it down and over if I could. And then I would jump back and stitch another strand of black and then jump over here. So like, you can see it on the back. So I do have colors in here in the wings that I'm just starting to fill out, but I'm alternating between the black background color and a fun color because there's just so much black background. I'm never going to get through that black background. Okay, and then on the 3rd, it was 50 degrees here. And then it was on the 7th, it was 60 degrees. So on the 3rd and the 7th, it was 60 degrees. And the 0 project is the Doctor Who diamond painting. This is what it's going to look like. And so I have been working. I finished out whatever little bits needed to be done here, and then I tore off the paper that protects the sticky and then started down in here. So it's kind of been nice that this has come up a few times, and I try to be very careful to make sure that I'm laying this flat because the drills, they're called drills, the drills want to pop off if I'm not too careful because this is old. This is old. I purchased this back in 2020, like right before everything shut down. So so it's been 6 years since I purchased it. And so I just feel like the sticky is not that great, and especially where the canvas or whatever you want to call it wants to crinkle. Okay, so that was the Doctor Who diamond painting, and I got to work on that twice, on the 3rd and the 7th, and then the 6th is the other day that I worked. It was 67 degrees here, and I got to work on the purple baby blanket. So let me show you. This is a fillet crochet. This is the Bashful Teddy Bear blanket from Mary Maxim. It came as like a whole kit thing. It came with the pattern. It came with all of the skeins of yarn that you're supposed to get. It came in this nice little bag type thing. It just, everything came, it was all one thing. And where is it? So I got to work on this some. I finished the row that I was on, which was row 3, and then started row 4. And row 4 is the one where it starts doing the fillet design. And not that you can see it very well, but it starts in here. So once this gets bigger and it's not quite so floppy, you should be able to see this a little bit better, but I am actually on row 5 of it. But here's some of the fillet area. Here's some of the fillet area. Like this is the bottom of the teddy bear's feet. So like here's how the pattern is graphed out. So I am just down here in this bottom. So that's it. That's all that I've gotten to work on as far as my regular projects and as far as my temperature projects. I haven't done anything else extra. No. So that's it. That is my update for the week. So I will go ahead and start trying to get this edited. Today's Wednesday, so I have my red light therapy today. So this probably won't be posted until after red light therapy's over. That's it. That's really it. I've been reading books still. I am currently rereading the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. I am on book, I don't even know what number it is. It's called Proven Guilty. It's like, I don't know, book 6, 7, 8, something like that. I'm pretty deep into the series. I have been getting it from my library and listening to the audio format of it because James Marsters, who plays Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, is narrating the book, and he does Harry Dresden very well. The snark and the sarcasm shine through perfectly. So if you have not listened to the Dresden Files, even if you've read the books, if you have not listened to them, you should. I fully recommend listening to James Marsters reading the Dresden Files to you. I have been reading some spicy books. One of the moms at gymnastics gave me a book recommendation that was about, basically it's alien cowboys. Alien cowboys is the best way that I can describe it. And I'm waiting for my library to, I'm on book 4, so I'm waiting for it to come available at my library. I'm second in line, so there's one more person ahead of me for that one. My youngest daughter has completely become obsessed with K-pop. It started because of the K-pop Demon Hunters movie on Netflix. So now every time we get in the car, she's like, "Mommy, can we listen to K-pop?" So I have been listening to K-pop. It's not my chosen genre, but songs are pretty catchy. Songs are pretty catchy. What can I say? There's quite a few that I will sing and dance along with her. Well, not dance, but as we're driving in the car, I'll dance while I'm driving. So, been listening to K-pop. I'm getting quite the K-pop education, or I'm learning things and then telling her. So she loves her K-pop. Loves it, loves it. At the end of the month, my oldest gets her braces off. So, yay. I can't think if there's anything of note for me to discuss. I really can't think of anything. So I will see everyone next week with another update on my pieces. Yeah, that's it. I feel like I keep feeling like there was something that I wanted to talk about, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. So it must not have been that important, or as my mom would say, it must have been a lie. So I will see everyone next week, and let me try to get started on editing this video. Bye for now.